Hello, everybody. I think that's everybody who's waiting to come in. That's good. Hi, thank you for joining us. I'm Kevin Jones. I'm the Workforce Development Officer for the National Youth Agency. And I'm very happy to welcome you to the second in our series of Routes to Success webinars. And the theme of this one is International Youth Work. So we've got a good friend of mine, Tilly, coming along with some of her colleagues to lead the workshop today. Before we start, just a few bits of housekeeping. The first one is if you're happy sharing your camera, please do, just because it's really encouraging to be able to see people nodding along. There's no compulsion for that. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. We'll try, it's interactive, it's informal. So if you've got any questions, feel free to fire them off either through the chat, which we'll try and get to, but if you're not getting any response through the chat, feel free to pipe up. You can unmute your mic and say, excuse me, that's fine. In the interim though, if you're not asking any questions and you're not participating in a group session, please keep your mic muted. We've all been in Zoom before. We all know how horrific it is when it starts feeding back. So please remember to do that if you're not talking. The workshop, webinar, whatever we choose to call it, is about an hour and a half today. Yeah, if you've not got a cup of coffee, then we'll probably have a 5-minute break at some stage, will we, Tilly?
We've not planned one, but
planned one.
We can always go off plan and do that. We'll have
if you're desperate for a cup of coffee, stick your hand up and ask to go and get a cup of coffee, and I'm sure we can accommodate. Right, that's enough from me. Oh, the other thing to mention, I suppose, there's two things really. This is part of a series, as I'm sure you're aware. So please spread the word and get as many people along as you can to the rest of the series. Otherwise, the National Lottery will have given us some money for nothing, and we don't want that. And the other thing I suppose to mention is this is National Lottery funded, so they've supported us in putting all this on, so they deserve a mention. Right, that's enough from me. I'll hand over to Tilly to get things going. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. So hello and welcome to our webinar on international youth work. And I'm going to share my screen now and get started. So my name is Atilia and I have been a youth worker and a cultural leader for the last 20 years. I worked at Trafford Youth Service for 12 years, running a youth recording studio called Gorsil Studios, but running the music department, a professional recording studio. And for the last 7.5 years, I've been running my own organization called Bazaar Projects. Over the next hour and a half, we will be exploring international youth work and hopefully provide some inspiration for you all to get started on your own international youth projects, or at least get some ideas to take forward. We have made this webinar international too. We have experts joining us from partner organizations in Hungary and Romania who will share their tips and tricks as their Erasmus Plus experts and trainers with plenty of experience. So please give us a quick wave, Andrea and Eva. Hello. We'll introduce them a little bit later in more detail. And then we'll also hear a young person's perspective, Daniel Payne, who has experienced various international youth projects. Hi, Daniel. Okay, so first of all, it's over to you. We would like to find out where you are all from. Okay, so if you could go on to menti.com and type in your name, your organization, well, type in this code first, 6867329. If you could do that, go on to menti.com, and I'm going to share that with you. 1 second. So have you got the code, everybody? 6867329. Okay, and I'm going to share my Menti screen. Can you all see that? Okay. So if you could just type in there, who are you, when you're from, your name, your organization, your town. Brilliant. So that interactiveness works, which is great.
Can I just ask what the code was?
6867329. It's here at the top.
So 68 Oh yeah,
67
got it.
329.
329.
So we have people someone from Wakefield, Hull, Yorkshire, Barnsley, Manchester, Romania, Lincolnshire. Brilliant. Okay. So I'll go back to the presentation now. Okay, so we know who has joined us and where you're all from. So Beat Bazaar Project's a little bit more about Beat Bazaar Projects and the organization that I have set up. I've been running Beat Bazaar for the last 7.5 years. And we run, I'm trying to get to the right section. So yeah, we develop potential through music, creativity, and cultural exchange, and run lots of creative projects, music projects taking place in professional recording studios, showcase opportunities for young people, employability projects as well, because we believe creativity and working in professional settings within the arts can really help employability for young people. We led a project, a national program called Capital Extras Music Potential Program, which also carried Arts Award accreditation. We like to be international and take young people on exchanges, youth exchanges around Europe through Erasmus+. We also lead our own youth work courses, international youth work courses through Erasmus+. In addition to that, we run an annual festival, cultural festival in Manchester City Centre, which has 18,000 plus visitors. And through that, we also run creative and cultural activities for young people. The festival celebrates culture from the Carpathian Basin, Transylvania, which is an interesting theme, as that's where I was born. That's why that's where I'm from. But also touching on bringing in cultures from all around Eastern Europe. And through that, we run workshops for babies, children, young people, teenagers, parents and grandparents, so all age groups in Manchester City Centre. And that's all international youth work because it's sharing culture. And as part of Go Bay Fest, we also run work experience opportunities for young people who wish to gain quality experience in the events industry. They get mentoring from the sound engineers, from the stage managers, and get hands-on experience. So we do international youth work locally as well. The countries that we have had over 400 plus participants recently in the last 2 years within our international training courses, we had participants from Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Bulgaria, France, Spain, Italy, Estonia, Greece, Ukraine, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Armenia, Latvia, Moldova, Georgia, and Serbia. And we're looking to work with more and increase those countries. Currently, we're also running a project called, we are the education partner for the Manchester Hip Hop Archive, where we're taking informal activities, workshops in DJing, turntablism, MCing into primary schools and secondary schools, teaching the hip hop of the history of Manchester's hip hop. Okay, so our journey into international youth work was all about, as a youth worker, I had a real interest in international youth work and saw that there was a bit of a lack of awareness towards other cultures, even though Manchester is it's the third international city in the world, according to a study at Manchester University. There's over 200 languages spoken here, yet I still think that there is room for improvement when it comes to cultural awareness. So I had an interest as a youth worker and went on training, Salto Youth training. I found out on Salto Youth about Appetizer, which was an introduction to international youth work. And I thought that training was absolutely amazing. Back then it was called Youth in Action, what is now called Erasmus+. And I thought it was the most inspiring training, youth work training I've ever been on. Following that, I went on the Buy, Try, Multi-training, where I've met more partners and I found out about how to write my own funding applications. And then started the journey by taking young people on youth exchanges. There's Daniel setting up a recording studio in a park in Croatia with Gio, who's a young artist. And I also started locally, youth work locally as well, because I don't think necessarily you have to be, let's just see that video. Okay. You can start locally. You don't necessarily have to travel abroad to start an international youth project, as this video explains. Oh, come on, video. Come on. Okay.
I'm Christopher Ekioma, Christopher Chukwu Ekioma. I'm from Holland, and I'm half Dutch, half Nigerian.
Dus je bent boos omdat je rollen wil met Caesar, ha? Ik kan niet lachen, dus je wilt dat ik je kito, ha? Ik wil je rollen, dat die pussy keeper, ha?
My name is Natasha, and I'm Latvian Russian. I'm from Latvia, I'm from Riga. Yes, it is basically.
Я сама не завидую им, где бы то ни был бы я. Если бы власти перестали трогать крэш, искорить вашу муй, пока вы хаваете их трэш, йоу, то наша жизнь была бы таким спокойнее, ведь корень проблемы не в межсоциальной розни.
Hello, Euroskanking. I'm Budos. Yeah, Budos. Pavanubu. I'm originally from West Africa, Benin / Congo. Yeah. 1, 2. The Euroskanking crew. Yeah, diggity check.
So, hi guys, I'm Vicky, Victoria Dika, my full name. I'm Hungarian, I'm 21 years old.
My name is Chobanku, Cap, it's nickname, and I'm a producer and comes from Hungary. I live in Manchester.
How old are you, Kat?
And 24 years old.
Hey, I was doing some things you
I think headphones would be one of the worst things to fix. There's so many fiddly lines.
So that was our local international project where young people could share their cultures through music. And this is a photo from Gobe Fest, which attracts, you know, up to 20,000 people in Manchester city centre. So what is international youth work? Quickly, it's international youth encounters. It's basically youth work, but it's international. Informal and non-formal learning opportunities. It's all about celebrating diversity and offering young people the opportunity, and youth workers the opportunity to engage in intercultural dialogue, explore common themes and issues, and come up with solutions to problems which are happening in all our countries. Share practice amongst youth workers as well. It's a really good opportunity to share our cultures, life experiences, and our experiences within our youth work practice too. So international youth work brings youth workers and young people together from different countries and different cultural backgrounds to work together. It can be volunteering, it could be a sports project, it can be any theme or issue. And it has clear, measurable outcomes and benefits. You know, young people can gain real leadership skills, life skills and competencies. They can gain recognized accreditation, which supports employability, such as the Youth Pass. They can gain informal and non-formal learning in various settings, personal and social development, getting to know oneself and others, and also opportunities to build relationships and make friends with people from different countries, and also change perspectives, celebrate diversity. There's a real motivation element to it. It is challenging, you know. Sometimes young people are out in a country working in a different new country, working from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m, trying new foods, listening to different languages. So it is a challenging thing, and it's hard work. But it gives you a real feel-good feeling. So I think it really complements well-being as well. And life-changing experiences. It offers life-changing experiences, as well as great travel opportunities, which really beneficial, because you through Erasmus Plus, these travel opportunities were paid for by funding. So also to young people that didn't have never had the opportunity to travel, they can travel, and they're traveling with other young people. So again, it's that feeling of achievement and confidence and self-esteem. And for youth workers, it is quality experience and a chance to explore youth work policy and practice wider, and learn new methods and approaches, and also raise awareness to the benefits of intercultural learning. So there's Sam with a youth pass that he's really, really proud of, sharing our cultures and sharing dances and having fun through that, travel opportunities and making friends for life, and then seeing things that you might never have seen before. That's a bear in Transylvania. I had young people texting me back going, "We just seen a bear, we wanted to get out and stroke it." I was like, please don't, please don't. So it's another short video before we go on to Daniel. That's just a short video of our recent Triple I program, and you can see the energy and the positive vibrations coming from the faces of those participants. But really, the best way to demonstrate the benefits of international youth work is to get a young person's perspective. So let's go over to Daniel, who's had quite a few experiences in international youth projects. Daniel, over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. I think it's this, and then you should be able to see. Is that good? Yeah, great. Yeah, so I met Attilia back when I was 14 years old, so like 7 years ago. And she invited me to just present my experiences with Erasmus today, because I think I've really been affected by the program. Like, especially in the UK, it's not something that's ever shown to us going through school or college. It's like not shown at all. And then suddenly when you go to Europe, it's just like this standard thing that everybody seems to do. So I feel like very fortunate to have come from the UK and had these opportunities. So I've just got a short presentation. Yeah, so my Erasmus journey has taken me to 3 different countries, Croatia, Romania, and Greece. The very first one was in Croatia. I went on a youth exchange when I was 16 years old. It was called Arts Here, Rights Now, and it took place in a small town in Croatia called Karlovac. I went with 4 other participants, a guy called Gio, who's a producer, Eleanor, a singer-songwriter, Morgan over there, who was doing photography at the time, and also a girl called Shakisha here. And this youth exchange was about artists coming together. There were like musicians, painters, photographers, and it was about us coming together and kind of like showing different art forms. So I thought the best way I could show this to you was through this. Actually, at the time I was doing something called an arts award, which Attilia showed me as well. So for that, I had to make this just short website. Part of it was arts leadership, which is what I went on this youth exchange for. And when I was there, I worked mainly with other musicians. I was producing music at the time, so we met in this park. I worked mainly with a bassist called Ricardo from Croatia, a girl called Julia from Spain who played the violin, and then Gio, and we all worked together to make a track throughout the week. And at the end of the week, we showed it at a local festival, which took part just in one of the streets of the town. And this is a video of the performance of that song. Yeah, it went down really well. And also after that, I got the chance to perform my first DJ set, which was really great. This project really brought on my confidence and gave me a chance to like do things I never got to do before. So after that experience, Atelier, I didn't really do anything with Erasmus till a year later, where Atelier contacted me again if I wanted to do this training course called International Bridge Builders. And after the experience I had in Croatia, I didn't really hesitate at the chance. So this was a really much bigger project. There were people from the Czech Republic, Greece, I think Lithuania, Spain, and a few other countries as well. And this was more about like discussing different topics that were present throughout Europe and like kind of the views of our different countries about them. So it took part in like 2 phases, one phase in Manchester for a week and then another phase in Romania. In Manchester, we did it in a local youth centre in Manchester called Sharing Youth Centre. So we met every week, kind of talked about like different, all the different topics. And then outside of that, there were like kind of trips around to different places in Manchester with the other participants. I thought if we had time, there was a short video on the Facebook group that we had on the time, which showed like one of the activities we did. If it'll load up. Okay. No, it doesn't appear my internet's too good, but it was basically showcasing the dances of each of our countries. And I think it really showed the culture of the UK, because everyone in the other countries had a traditional dance, and then all the participants from the UK, we didn't know what to do because there's like no traditional dance at all. So it was really funny. So yeah, after Manchester, the next part took place in Romania, actually in Atelier's hometown called Sfântu George. I don't know if I pronounced that right. So yeah, it was the same groups of participants, so it was really great to meet them a year later. It was around the same sort of topics as the week in Manchester. And we got to explore different parts around the town. Every night we shared like dinner together. We got to visit like the local council, saw the mayor of the town, lots of different trips. We took like excursions. This was like a beautiful town called Brasov, one of the most amazing like places I visited. We visited the Transylvania Castle, which I think is like a staple for anyone who visits the area. Every night in the training courses, there's like an intercultural night where you show each other the food of your country. I think it's one of the best parts of the project. But yeah, so those 2 experiences really led me to like this big experience, which was the most life-changing one. On the training course, I met other people who spoke about this thing called European Voluntary Service. And kind of after the week in Romania, I didn't really know where I wanted to go with things. So yeah, I got back and I just know I didn't really want to be in England. I wanted to keep exploring different cultures. So I researched and eventually found this project, which took place in a beautiful place in Greece called Kalamata, which is the main city in the Peloponnese region of the country. Yeah, like back when we could like socialize outside, this is what it looked like. It's a small city of around 60,000 people. And I shared this accommodation together with other volunteers for 2 months. It's really great. I shared with a lot of French people, and there was also a girl from Armenia, and a couple other people from Portugal as well. And I had 2 different projects throughout my time there. One was I was working in a dog shelter, and the other was in a youth centre of the city. That was set up by the organisation I was volunteering for. The dog shelter was a really great experience. It was set up by this woman here called Katerina Persounis, because in Greece they have like a really big problem with the stray dog population. So in this dog shelter there were like something like 500 to 600 dogs. It was a really huge place. And yeah, we got to help out. I helped out there 3 days a week, kind of doing different tasks. We also did some olive picking there, because Kalamata is really famous for the olives. And my other project was in the youth centre of the city. They were doing different kind of workshops there. They had like Tai Chi, yoga, like different sports activities, classes to learn languages. So we kind of helped with the maintenance of the youth centre. Again, there were like the intercultural nights throughout the stay. So this is what I made from the UK. I made like cottage pie, English tea with digestives. Yeah, some more photos. But yeah, the experience as well was a lot more than just the 2 projects you went to do. The organisation really set up a lot of things for us to do. So there were different training courses going on at the time. So this was like a drama training course, and we got to view that. We went to an olive factory where they picked the olives. We had like a tour of that. Every week we had Greek lessons. Every Friday, and we had that. I also met this girl called Sophia, who teaches English, and she invited me to come like do an English session to teach like English slang to the Greek people. We like went out a lot together with the people from the projects we were doing. I was also there around Christmas time, so we had like a huge Christmas dinner in the youth centre, and we took like lots of excursions to visit around Greece. I think it's a really amazing country, like one of the most like sort of densely populated countries in Europe in terms of culture, places to visit. So this is ancient Sparta, Olympia, where the Olympic Games started. Of course, I went to Athens as well. And this was my favorite place in Greece called Nafplio, which was actually a former capital of Greece a few hundred years ago. And yeah, that was my kind of experience, but they were all really life-changing experiences. It was like the first time I lived alone, and it was lived independently, and it was in a foreign country. I got to meet loads of amazing people, and it really just like opened my mind from kind of the English way, and to experience like different cultures, different lifestyles. So yeah, I can't recommend it enough, and that's my story with it basically.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I think the only thing I would add to that is some of the themes in the international training courses that we explore, the Erasmus Plus ones, are common themes and issues such as fighting racism, challenging racism, encouraging volunteering, discussing thoughts around migration and how we can provide a positive narrative to challenge what we might hear on the news. And it's just, it really encourages young people to develop their own voices and to strengthen their own voices and gain confidence as speakers as well. So thank you, Daniel. That's amazing to see you grow so much over the years, and good luck continuing towards the future. So next up we have tips and tricks. We go over to Andre, who will provide some further tips and tricks. He's a trainer and consultant in the international youth field. Over to you, Andre.
Yeah, thank you, Tilly. Hi to all. So I'm from Hungary and I'm supposed to be the expert. Supposed to be, huh? Being an expert in international youth work is already generally a difficult thing. But I'm going to share with you a presentation what I have done related to youth work. So the main idea of the whole thing is that how did I become a weirdo and how I become an international weirdo after all. So I'm officially a human resource manager. And I was all the time involved into different kind of projects with young people all around. I was supporting them. I didn't know that youth work generally exists. And what does it mean, youth work? So I went to do volunteering in an organization to find out that what can I do there? And they needed support for finding young people. And it was straight after the uni. So I was like, okay, cool, that could be me to do it. And then I got introduced to the previous program of Erasmus Plus, which was called Youth Program in that time, really simple name, why they need to make it difficult. And then it sucked me into the system. And since then, it was in 2005, I'm involved in international level. And I need to say that I have now more friends in international field than in Hungary. So it's a quite a weird situation that how I turned to be an international weirdo. But Tilly was asking me the question that, okay, they are doing this program of international youth work. And can I share with you guys that what do I think about it and how is the situation will be? And I was thinking, okay, like if we are in England, let's be really super English one. I'm figuring out what to do. So I turned to create the idea in my head. Okay, England, Doctor Who. That's the best thing which can represent for me England from the side. So if you have seen Doctor Who, there was in 2006, 2007, an episode where these strange creatures from Earth, they occupied young people and people on the world. And there was this really scary little guy walking around the place that, are you my mommy? Are you my mommy? And I had this same question in my mind for a couple of days. That, am I international weirdo? What is international youth work? So I started to look around online that what is international youth work. So it's quite difficult. It's the same like between these Cybermans to find where is the doctor. So is there any guide to international youth work? I didn't find a proper one, so I was looking for it. And it was, what is youth work and what is this guide itself? And how should we start? It's super simple. I didn't find any information for it, how to start it. So I was thinking about it that, okay, why people don't talk about it? Because you need to just start. I mean, there is no thing in the background that, okay, international youth work is like, ooh, is so mythical. It's mythical because we didn't start it at all. I mean, it's really mythical. So you can find a lot of creatures. You can find a lot of blue boxes, which are pretty weird. And trust me, Daniel was mentioning several things. So you can be a TARDIS as well. And I'm going to come back to this point of how can you become a TARDIS and what's the thing with the TARDIS? Because all around youth work is traveling, not only in places, but sometimes in time as well. And you have the memories and it's the whole loop are sucking into you if you find the feeling. You can find a lot of aliens around. But what do we need? We need someone, first of all, who have already started, a weirdo, an alien who have been abroad already and trying to do something. Well, what else we need? We need an idea to start, because we don't need to go abroad all the time to do international youth work, how Tilly was mentioning. We need a place as well to do maybe we can just start at home, in our small community first, then go abroad. And we need partners, yeah, because you cannot do it alone. So we need companions for you. There are several websites what I'm going to share with you later on where you can find partners, but the best thing is, first of all, to go to someone who have already been in a youth project, in an international one, first of all, asking how was it and what did you do. And how Daniel was mentioning, he opened up. So he's like, you can be a TARDIS totally when you go abroad, because what's the best in the TARDIS? You can time travel. Okay, it's like go time and space relative. It's one thing, but the TARDIS is a blue box, which is weird, but it's bigger in the inside. So you can do a lot of things what you don't recognize by yourself beforehand till you are not facing with issues. How Daniel was mentioning as well. Okay, living abroad, trying out different food, trying out different activities, doing different things. I didn't know that I'm able to do it. That's the best thing in international youth work. Okay, it's the same like in general in youth work. If you do something, generally in youth work, in local level as well, you can open up yourself towards others and you can find out the creativity is inside you. And what we need for it, we need different tools. So what's the tools okay, here from the picture, if you are a weirdo than me, you can just say that there is one thing which is missing from the picture. It was the sunglasses of the 12th Doctor, because in one moment he lost his sonic screwdriver, but it's like an evolution. The main thing of it is is how you're going to involve your tool, because you go abroad, you meet with weirdos, different aliens all around who have the same ideas, who are doing things completely the same way like you, but in a different setting. So you just share your ideas with them, and then you go back home and you try to adapt it into your local youth work. That's the main thing about it. It's not so weird, especially you're English. Most of you speak English, but the best thing here, we don't speak English in international level. It could be scary because we speak Globish, which is a mixture of all of them. If you meet someone, you will say that, okay, using word facilitators, using word entrepreneurship, we adapt it from different languages and put it inside into these bubbles of international youth work. So we created a new language, which is Globish. And now is the moment to talk about, talk about international youth work in the future, at this moment when we are in lockdowns and we have quite political background as well from all the places. I have some websites for you which can help you to start. One of them is the European Youth Portal, where you can find information what's going on in Europe. It's the official website of the European Commission and European Union, where you can have information about how to go abroad, how to start, what does it mean, European youth work itself. So it's a pretty cool portal. I'm suggesting to just go and use it for a while. Just wander around what you can find, because you can find brilliant ideas. The other one, which is, okay, I don't want to get into the Brexit things at all. No, because we don't see how it goes. But Council of Europe is still there. Council of Europe and UK is still part of the Council of Europe and this whole system. So they do international youth work. They do different kind of youth programs. They have different youth centers. They have the European Youth Foundation, which gives extra credit and extra money for international projects, where in the future as well, you can be involved. Since Erasmus Plus is going to be over this year, and if I know well, UK doesn't have they didn't sign the contract with the new ones. And anyway, we don't know it from Europe, what's going to happen in the next 7-year period, because European Parliament is closed as well. So they are in lockdown. So they didn't share the new information with us. But in Council of Europe, they do pretty awesome youth projects as well, not only in EU level, but in quite a wider area. they are focusing a lot on human rights, and they are creating a lot of wonderful online digital tools as well. And the last one, Ottilia was already mentioning these weird names of Salto. It's not a backflip or a front flip. It's an abbreviation of Support Advanced Learning and Training Opportunity for Young People. Is a cooperation between different organizations in European level to support international youth work, where if you go online, you have everything there, what you need for youth, for starting youth work, finding different tools, finding partners, finding out projects where you can just filter it down to UK citizens, and different toolboxes for starting youth work itself. So these 3 websites, which I can offer to you at the moment for tips and tricks for starting, because these ones are really wonderful one in European level. I'm going to send it to Kevin and to the National Youth Agency, my presentation, so you can have the links later on as well. And one thing which I wanted to share with you in the end, it was said by the doctor that we are all capable of the most incredible change. We can evolve while we're still staying true to who we are. We can honor who we've been and choose who we want to be next. So now is your chance. If you haven't done youth work in international level, do, guys. That's the moment to do it. I mean, we don't need limitation. We have our limitation here in our head. So we just need to go and find someone who have been abroad. Ottilia is there, Kevin is there, you heard about Danny. And if you need a companion for the future, it's our website from Hungary, our organization Jopa, which we are working with it since 2006. So if in the future you need someone for a companion for youth project in international level, shout it out, put a like on it, send us a message, and tell that you want to be involved. So if you have questions, you throw it inside in the chat, or later on we can just find us what we want to do. And I was talking already too much, and I can take another half an hour talk about it. But I think Dan already mentioned a lot. What's the point of international youth work and how it should start? It just starts one, and it's then an avalanche. Either you like it or not. You will have really wonderful memories, and sometimes you will have horrible memories as well. But memories are there to remember, not to forget. And it's thank you so much for listening to me. If you have questions, go for it. Cheers.
If anyone has any questions now to Andrea, you can either put it in the chat or you can speak up. But thank you, Andrea. That was a wonderful presentation. Any questions right now, or do you want to put it in the chat? Or anyone wants to speak up? No. Okay, so we'll move on to our next expert, Eva Gruman, who is an Erasmus Plus expert and trainer. She's also the director of the Youth Club of St. George, which is the town I was born in. So I live in Manchester, but I was born in St. George. So over to you now, Eva.
Thank you very much, Ottilia. I would like to welcome you, all of you, to this webinar, and I will start to share my screen, or maybe a bit later, because stop. Because before we will start, I would like just to suggest a small exercise. And we are not in a physical way, but still we can do some energizers as well. What I would like to ask from you, to give high five for your colleagues, okay? Just to move your hand and to give a high five. How you wish. You can cross your hands and just to say hello to your neighbors. Okay, thank you very much. And now I will start, just a minute. Okay, so my name is Eva Gruman. I'm from Romania, from a really small city called St. George. And as you can see, from this small city, we managed to build partnerships with more than 20 countries, and we managed to achieve to the farthest places as San Jose, Costa Rica. So as you can see, really in the youth work, the limit is the sky. So you can go and you can experience, learn, develop yourself in all over the world. And how Ottilia also mentioned that I'm a part of this organization, Youth Club of St. George. We founded in 2007 this organization for the local young professionals to involve them. And then we started from 2008 to work in international level as well. And from 2008 we managed to organize more than 50 international youth projects. And a few words about me. I started in 2000 as a small scout in a scout team. As a volunteer, of course, I didn't realize that it's a volunteering on that time. But I really liked it, and I continue somehow in this level. I managed to work as a youth worker for the local youth sport and ministry branch. Then we organized lots of activities, and of course that I find in youth work I find my husband as well. So from 2012 we organize at home as well. So we are always on doing projects and being involved in the international youth field. And now I prepared for you. I will stop to share, and now I will put it in the chat a link. It's a, oh no, I will share the screen and I will share this one. Sorry. So you already knew the Menti. Now I would like to ask you that in how many international youth activities you have participated in your life. And if you enter in the menti.com, please write this code, that 2026 533, and vote the numbers. Okay, thank you very much that you now stop to share. I will come back to the, and as you already have seen, I'm just summarizing what Ottilia and Andra and Daniel said, that the youth work, it's starting with this small team. The people who wants to make a change, to make a difference, and they want to do something in local level first, and then to go to national and international level. We as youth workers, we are here as a support, and of course with the help of the toolbox we will help to achieve their purpose. Of course that we need to help them to take over these challenges, and then together we will arrive to this ideal future, or we will make the difference in the volunteers' life and in the local community as well. So as a youth work in local or international level, we can say that we are doing things to make this world better, to make their lives. And now I will put you again to work a bit, as I prepared another question as well here in Menti. So if you enter in the Menti, I'm interested that what is your motivation as youth worker to participate in international youth work activities? Because when we discussed with Ottilia, she told to me that to speak about the challenges, about the benefits, but I said that, okay, let's see what is your motivation, and let's discuss a bit on this part. So I'm waiting for your answers. So to broaden the experiences of young people, to expand awareness of humanity, different cultures, forms of communications, expressions, meet inspirational people, working with young people from across the world. Okay, I will. To broaden opportunities for young people, increase their awareness of diversity and different cultures, become a TARDIS, to give young people different perspectives on their lives, and to learn about the experiences of other young people. Thank you very much. As we always say that, and how we mentioned that how experts we are, I always say that I'm experienced. I have a lot of experience, but in all of the time and the knowledge is in your head, and in just we need to put in the order the informations, but all the knowledge is in our head. And to discuss a bit that what are the benefits for the individuals, I divided in the individuals and for the organizations. Of course, that it's not enough to list in one slide all of the benefits, but I try to choose my personal benefits and what the volunteers tell to us that are the benefits. Of course, that the personal and professional development. So it's really helpful. Then to increase skills and employability, then to broaden cultural horizons and to boost confidence. So the self-esteem and the confidence, and to work on yourself, how Daniel mentioned that after EVS, now the ESK project, it can change your life. So it's really a life-changing project, and a life changing in a positive way, of course. And then for the organizations as well, that it's a really good opportunity for training and to develop their career for the staffs. Then the better opportunities for engaging learners and share and discover good practices. And of course that to discover new practices, what they can use in their hometown. So to bring home all the knowledge and to share for the local communities. And the lessons, what I have learned in the past 10 years, I try to summarize, of course, that from this one, I put the most important ones as well. So plan something realistic. So when you want to do a project, an international youth work, then try to think that what is your experience and what is the problem. You can check on local level first, and then to see if it works in international level as well, and try to plan something which is realistic, which is in which topic you feel comfortable to work with. Then the partners. Here, in most of the times when it's about the individual volunteering, we hear that I would like to go in X country, or I would like to visit the country. So when you are choosing, choose the people with whom you would like to work, not the country. The country to be the second thing, what you choose in the partners. Choose the people with whom you can work and you can communicate. Then it's really important that to have a group around you. So alone, it's really hard to organize international youth events. You need a group near you, one people who is responsible for the logistics, one people who is responsible to taking photos, the other one for in the organizational part. So you need a group of people around you. Then how already the other speakers, they mentioned that accept interculturality. So the food is different. If you move somewhere, the food is different. The peoples are different. The traditions are different. But what is really, really important to be positive, to be open-minded, and to be solution-centered. So try to always focus on the solution, how to solve that problem. Then try to find your place, your role in the project. So it's really good in the youth work, in the international youth work, that you can try out in yourself in many roles. So if you think that you are interested on the press field, then you can try out how is to work, to write articles. If you think that you want to be an organizer, then you can try out that role as well. So it's really important to find regarding to your knowledge, regarding to your capabilities, to find your place here. And there is place for everybody. So it's you can find, I'm sure. And then I brought as my personal suggestion that if you don't know where to start, then start as a participant. So take part, and then I'm sure that you will meet with people who can help you. You will hear new ideas, what you can use. So start as a participant, and from there there will be no stop. And then I put this button that if you feel that you want to start, then so what are you waiting for? Push the button. And I would like to close with a quote that I really like it. And experience is not what happens to you, it's what you do with what happens to you. So it's really important with the experience, not just to keep it. So now you have all the information, you have all the backpack, then push the button and start your journey. Thank you that you were active participants. Thank you that you have patience to listen me. And if you have questions, I'm here. So really, thank you very much that you were here.
Thank you, Eva, for an inspiring and in-depth presentation and discussion on international youth work, your own experiences. So thank you to all the speakers. I think it's been wonderful, some wonderful experiences and inspiring moments shared there. So the next thing that we were going to do, or we are going to do, let me just find my presentation. I would like you to, okay, so we were going to get into groups, but I think that we can just work as one group, and we're going to spend 10 minutes. We're going to go on to this link here. I think I've shared it in the box, in the chat box. Did it come up, or have I not shared it? Let me type it in, and then have I shared it? There you go. Cool. So if we could get onto that Jamboard, I'm going to share the screen of the Jamboard in a second, and we're going to spend 10 minutes just discussing our own ideas, your ideas. You've heard our ideas, you've heard some of our experiences. So let's discuss some of your ideas for project ideas for international youth work. And also, because there's not that many of us, we've got an opportunity to, if you've got any questions to the speakers as well, we can have a discussion on how we can take some of these ideas forward as well. If you could, so the Jamboard is basically like a pin board, and you can, were you all able to open it? Can you put, yeah? So on the left, you can put sticky notes on, and I would like every single one of you to write a sticky note, a project idea that you have. So we should have a nice pin board full of different ideas on there, and I will share that with you in a second. If you could take some time to do that now. Are you all on the Jamboard? I need to find it. Once I found it, here we go. There you go. Right, technology. So you don't have to go into group 8. We can just go into group 1 or 2, and everybody put up a sticky note and write some, and you can change the colors of the sticky notes and write a couple of ideas or an idea down for that you have for international youth work. Touch youth work in reality. International food exchange, brilliant idea. And you can move these as well, so we can see them all.
I can't use it because for some reason, for everything, Google seems to think I live in Germany. So it's actually come out in, all the instructions for it have come out in German. Don't ask me why. It does it for everything I open with Google. For some reason, there's a problem if I open up a document in Google, all the instructions are in German. So unfortunately, I have it opened up in German. So I'm
maybe
unable
you need to do a youth project in Germany.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe I need to learn German. Maybe I need to learn German.
Well, if you did a youth project in Germany, then you'd learn some basic German along with them. You can put an idea into chat.
What I was going to say is, I could say my idea. I do participation youth work, so I do youth councils, and mine is to both. Cause I have 2 jobs. One is to work with both, because I do a Green Issues Council and I do a YPC, so get a European international flavour to that work. So working with other young people from other organisations. I've been in.
It's okay. You've gone quiet. Or you... Hello, Carl.
Yeah.
Okay, you're muted.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can.
All right, cool. So to get an international political thing to work with other youth groups that work on either a local or national political level, but I also work in an education setting, and I'm responsible for student voice there and to work with other organisations, sort of student union style organisations, primarily across Europe, to sort of see the differences in experiences on how educational student participation is shaped in different countries. So that they would be my 2 ideas of, and obviously with the Green Council, see how green issues, youth involvement in green issues across the world would be really good. Give my group a chance to meet up with other international youth groups to sort of exchange best practice.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
So that's my interest in this from that point of view. I've been involved with UK Youth Parliament for many, many years. I'm going to show my age now. If you see the UK Youth Parliament original members scroll, it has the signatures, has the young people who signed the original charter. I'm one of them, which makes me in my 40s now, because I was the original group of young people who 30-ish years ago actually signed that document as one of the young people involved in the very original UK Youth Parliament, and I'm sort of involved in it as a worker now. So so I work, so obviously through UK Youth Parliament there's quite an international element we can do with that as well. So I work with that side as well through the UK Youth Parliament. So it's where I got my taste of it, and I'd like to do that for my local youth work.
Yeah, it's really important as well. And if you're part of the Youth Parliament, it's ever more important right now. And we don't really want to mention Brexit, but I think it's even more important to continue providing these opportunities for young people and speaking up for international youth work in both settings, you know, because I think it shouldn't just be all of the European young people that get these opportunities. It's, you know, we might be Brexiting, but we're still European in the UK as well. And I think it's important to continue providing those opportunities. And if you've got Parliament behind you, and also with National Youth Agency, and with all these ideas, I think that's another beautiful thing about this Jam board. You can see how many ideas there are on this board. And I think every single one of these ideas is possible and doable. And even without Erasmus, we can get started on these with things like Zoom as well. You see, even being more digitally savvy since the whole COVID thing. We can start projects digitally and then continue them in person as well. So does anybody want to speak a little bit about their idea that they've put on here? Look at how many ideas have come up. So there's something for you, both Youth Parliament and for Kevin from the National Youth Agency to also take forward. Say there's a real interest in this, and, you know, give us some funding, government, if you not fill the space of Erasmus Plus with something else so that we can continue. But even without their money, we can continue. So does anybody else want to share their idea? International Conference on Human Rights. Whose idea is that?
Oh.
Anybody? And then International Environmental Project. You want to expand on that, anybody?
Yeah, I thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me? Yeah, it was, well, it just struck me that there's kind of, thinking about international youth work, the ones that I've done have been often cultural exchanges. So I did them back in London and went over to the Caribbean a few times, which was quite exciting. And so there was some commonality between the groups that we were taking and who they were visiting, and some relatives as well that we met. But it struck me that there's two things you can do in it. You can either look at common issues and common problems. The environment struck me as one of those. Or you can develop stuff together, which is why I put business down, you know, the possibility of creating something new. But I thought environment was a nice one, just because environmental issues affect different countries in a lot of different ways. So I thought there was quite a lot to learn there. It was the same with a colleague of mine that did an international project on responses to youth violence, which are very, very different even across Europe, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, I suppose the common theme with all of them was the stuff to learn for me in international youth work is either through exploring stuff that's similar, or exploring stuff that's very different, or creating things, I suppose. And I think, I don't know, but thinking it through, that seems to apply to all of them then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are all totally possible.
I've got to agree with Kev.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any
because, as I say, my big thing is the sharing of good practice. It's sort of the sharing of good practice, because there'll be loads of it. Because I say you might have like your hometown. It's this little tiny place in Romania, but it has from what we've seen from Eva, has amazing good practice from, and that for me is the exciting part of sort of a international approach, that because you hear about the big places, but it's not until you get involved with something like this that you hear about the little places that actually sometimes have the better one, but don't have the status or the platform to shout about it as much. And from what I've heard from Eva's project, and also the one that Dan was involved in, small project in Manchester, the benefits to the young people were off the scale, but they don't always get shouted at because they're not in capital cities, or they're not in the larger countries of particularly the EU. So I just thought that was really good, and that's the big thing I want, is to do as much best practice find out as much best practice as I can from wherever that project comes from.
No, it surprised me. There are a couple of international projects I've been involved with where I was surprised at how ignorant I was of good practice elsewhere. So there's two examples. One was in Finland, where they do multi-agency work really, really, really well. And didn't know kind of how their youth service was set up until I went over there. The other one was France, where they've got this idea of, they call it the French take youth work very seriously, and they've got this role called an animateur. Well, they've got a few interesting concepts actually. Animateur is one, and proximité, which means proximity, is another, and they're really useful concepts for us. So proximity means being with, next to, same as it does in English, but it's a concept that they've got in youth work, which is what the youth worker does. The youth worker is in proximity to, next to young people. And that's a key part of their youth work, this idea of being close to and consequently having more information about and trust. And I thought it was a really nice way of summarizing the relationship. The animateur thing is a product of that. It's because the youth workers are close to and knowledgeable about young people and youth culture and whatever. In some bits of France, the youth worker has a commissioning bid to commission other services to wrap around the young people. And that was fascinating to learn, you know, the idea that they take youth work so seriously that the youth worker is, you know, the person not in charge of, but in charge of commissioning criminal justice or social care or all of that sort of stuff. I found that fascinating.
Oh. Yeah, and Kev, probably as you know, with being involved with the National Youth Agency, Stephen will know, because I'm from Leicester, we've gone one step further than that. It's not actually the youth work, as you guys know, it's not the youth workers in Leicester City that do a lot of our youth work commissioning and youth service commissioning. It's our young people who actually sit on the commissioning boards, members of the YPC and the Children's Council, etc. actually sit on our commissioning boards. They actually are part of the interview panels, which are employing the directors. Not that you get sometimes you get, oh well, we involve young people in the employment of youth workers and that sort of thing. Oh no, they actually are on the interview panels of our directors and and heads of service and that sort of thing. But then they also sit on our commissioning boards as well. So they are, and they're tied up by the same confidentiality because they get given business plans, and they take it uber seriously. They don't talk about it. They don't anything, and they're literally at that level where we have them on scrutiny, where they stay in the room when all the non-board members are kicked out, including myself. So my young people stay in, and I'm kicked out because I'm not a member of the scrutiny board, but they stay in when commercially sensitive stuff is mentioned, and they clear the room of anyone who's not on the committee, on the scrutiny board, and they stay in the room, and I go and sit outside for 10 minutes. But I find that brilliant because I'm not a member of the board. It's not my seat. I'm not young enough to be a member of the YPC. And I love it that it's that way round. And as you say, I love the fact that it's them that are doing the commissioning of their own services. Because as you say, people who know best about young people's services are young people.
Young people, yeah. And it's important because young people strengthen their voice and certainly find their voice and end up being youth workers and community workers and all the way up to politicians and policymakers. And I think a lot of you guys on here have gone through that journey. Daniel himself is also working within the community, working with people with learning disabilities as well. So everyone's found that journey into society and community, whereas Eva's husband started as a youth worker, and you know, he's like president of, not quite the president, but he's a chair of the Council of Europe. So young people can really grow and end up in positions, but from taking part in youth work, we can also improve our own voices. And also what's important is just by sharing practice internationally as youth workers, we realize just how important the role of a youth worker is internationally. And sometimes it's not always recognized. But when we speak to each other, we realize just how important it is and just how much we can learn from each other. On our last training course, we heard from a young youth worker, very young person from Estonia, who totally blew our minds. He did a presentation on how Estonia was dealing with COVID issues. Do you remember Andrea and Eva? And he basically in Estonia, because their internet system and their Wi-Fi systems are so good, they have online youth centers, but in each online youth center, there was loads of participation going on. There was youth workers online. It looked like rooms full of not just youth work, but all connected to government, all other things going on as well.
They were doing it properly in the sense of, nowadays everybody's using Discord for different gaming sites to just chat about the same issue. And they turned Discord into an online youth work and an online youth club where you can approach the people one by one. It was really cool. Well, I mean, but they have good internet connection there as well.
Yeah, it was just mind blowing on how they did it, really. So it is about sharing good practice amongst ourselves. Does anyone have any questions to Andrea, Eva, Daniel, or myself? So I get back to the presentation. We also get better at Zoom with these things, I think. Right, share screen.
Could I ask Daniel one thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I ask Daniel how he has found the move from youth participant to worker?
Right.
On a project?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say I'm still trying to figure it out, definitely, because I had plans to do more stuff abroad this year, and COVID kind of kept me in England, which is how I kind of ended up working with people with disabilities. So I'm not too sure what my plans are for the future, but I don't think it's in England. Yeah.
Cool. I'm just sort of asking because my interest was pricked because someone that I knew through UK Youth Parliament, who was one of the Bradford representatives, has qualified and is a youth worker now. And she was quite surprised that I remembered her. I was like, of course I did, because she was the young person who would always ask questions about youth work and wanted to know about the job. So the fact that she's become a youth worker doesn't surprise me in the slightest, because as a young person, she was always interested in our role within it.
Yeah.
So when we went on resident, so when I went and did the annual sit-in, for instance, she would sit and chat with youth workers about how the youth worker side works and what have you. So I'm not surprised in the slightest. I was just interested with a young person to be able to speak to who's sort of taking that step as well. So thank you for that, Daniel.
Along with Daniel's DJing as well, I think with the DJing that will certainly continue, and the music production. I think he's learned about, how many instruments do you play now, Daniel?
Just 3.
3. So just picking up instruments in the last few years. So yeah, youth work skills and live skills and music skills as well. So just coming towards, we've got 5 more minutes. we do have some opportunities to share with you as well. 2 free online Erasmus Plus youth work training courses are coming up. One of them is called Dream Catchers. That's between the 8th and the 19th of December on Zoom. I wanted to drop the application form into the chat, but for some reason it's only letting me, it's not on Dropbox. Or can I just put it, I have to sign in. So I will try to sign in. But maybe the best way will be we can share it. Maybe I'll forward it to Kevin, and then Kevin will send it out to everybody who took part. We have some places available on those courses. They are online on Zoom. Our previous Zoom training course was a real success. Between the 8th and the 19th of December, there will be. So there's informal. It's all informal learning. There's breakout groups. There's at least 10 countries, young people and youth workers from at least 10 countries taking part in that. So if you or anybody that you know would benefit from that and you'd be interested, get the application form back to us and you can take part. You'd be welcome to take part. It is intensive, but it's not that intensive. I think it's really enjoyable. You know, there's going to be, they were doing an intercultural evening via Zoom, sharing foods, sharing music, as well as high quality youth work training. So fortunately I can't drop it into the chat, but I will share it via Kevin. And there is also another course that's going to be in January, and that's called Not in My Name. Both of these courses are run by our partners in Romania. So Eva will be taking part, and also Andrea is probably also training in some of those courses. So you can see their lovely faces again. What I'd like you to think about is, how will you take this forward as youth workers? How will you take this forward as community leaders? You know, how can we ensure that our British young people are also getting high quality international experiences and continue getting those experiences? So that's a thought to leave with you. Okay, so I'm going to now go on to Menti, and we're going to share, we're going to do some evaluations with you. So which one is our Menti?
Just while you're looking for that, Tilly,
yeah.
Any links that you send me, we can upload onto the website for the whole webinar series. And so any further information that anyone's got, actually, we can link to this webinar. This webinar will be available online as well. So yeah, we can continue building the resources for that without any problem.
Okay, so we can share our presentations and we can share these upcoming opportunities as well.
Yeah.
I'll forward you those, Kevin. So thank you for that. So I would like you to go on to menti.com again and use the code 6867329. The code is at the top of that page. That's 6867329. And vote. So how would you rate today's webinar? Strongly agree or strongly disagree is 1, strongly agree is 5. So just three questions on there. The webinar inspired me to get involved with international youth work, agree or disagree. The webinar equipped me with important knowledge and information on international youth work, agree or disagree. And the speakers were informative and knowledgeable, agree or disagree.
Oh, okay, mine's coming up saying that it's not open for voting.
Okay, try again. Sorry.
All right, yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Oh, there you go. I'm in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Has everyone voted? Let me do a 10-second countdown. Thank you. What are you taking from today's presentation, and what actions will you take personally? What are you going to do after this webinar? What did you gain from it? Just a few words from you all, please. That's all nice to read and positive. Let's do another 10-second countdown. I quite enjoy that. It's the first time I've had control of Menti. Yay. Okay, and then one more thing. let's do a piece of word art. Please describe this webinar in 3 words. So if you could all put 3 words in there.
It's not open for voting again.
Oh, there you go. Is it working? No?
Not for me.
No?
Nope.
Oh, well, I keep pressing.
It's, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Okay.
Oh, here you go. We're up.
On the right, it says voting is closed, and on the left, it says open. It's open. So, is it working? No? Try again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing results. Oh, yes, there you go. So thank you for that. Maybe I can do a short countdown. I've got the theme tune of Countdown, the TV program in my head when I do that. Okay.
I think someone likes the power.
Okay, so let's stop sharing that. And then we've come to the end of our presentation. I'll share. I don't need to share that with you. So we've come to the end of our presentation. Thank you very much for joining us to our joining the webinar on International Youth Work. Thanks to all the partners as well and the expert speakers. Thanks for Kevin and the National Youth Agency for having us and for organising such a webinar. Hopefully we can take this forward. We've got some ideas from you. We've got some people in Parliament and in National Youth Agency and around Europe to continue creating opportunities for our young people. And if you've got any questions, then do get in touch with me. My email is on there, atelier@beatbazaar.co.uk. Feel free to get in touch anytime. I will help as much as I can, and we'll share some opportunities with you. And good luck with your projects. Good luck with International Youth Work. And yeah, enjoy.